Today we're going to begin 6.2. It's a two-day assignment. Two-day assignment on solving right triangles. So you will be able to solve right triangles using trig ratios. And on Tuesday when we come back, we're gonna do some applications. This is a two-day process. So all of these triangles are right triangles, and you should know from geometry that the sum of the measures of triangles add up to be 180. And you should also know that you can use the Pythagorean theorem that the two legs squared added together is equal to the hypotenuse squared. When you're doing these problems, make sure your calculator is in degree mode. Otherwise, you'll get the wrong answer. You have to know all of the ratios. So in order to find a missing side, so here you have a triangle. And this angle is 65 degrees. The hypotenuse is 8. And this leg is 8, is x. So if we want to figure out what this angle is, what would we do? 90 minus 65. Now why 90? Why did we do 90? Well, because that's a 90-degree angle. So if the sum of the angles of a triangle is 180 and one of the angles is 90, we only have 90 left over. So 90 minus 65, which is what? 25. So if we wanted to find this angle, this is 25 degrees. 90 minus 65, which is 25 degrees. If we want to find this side called x, what trig ratio, just using the information that's here, not even going to this point where you had to find out angle 20, this is angle 25, what trig ratio, sine, cosine, tangent, compares this side to this side in reference to this angle? Which trig ratio? Sine?
Cosine.
Cosine. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. So you're going to write cosine of 65. So every 65-degree angle, the side adjacent to the hypotenuse is this ratio, this certain number for this triangle, x over 8. Now, how will you figure out what side x is? What will you do? You're going to you're going to cross multiply. So cosine of 65 times 8, take your calculator, and again, make sure it's in degree mode. So 8, you can do this all in one shot. 8 cosine 65 is x, and you should get 3.38. Is there anyone that does not know how to do this? So 8, and I will show you here, 8 cosine 65. Here's the 83s. And if you have the Inspire, you just type it in just like that. Now, if I wanted to find this side, which I'll call that y, what would you do to find side y? I would use sine. I would say the sine of 65 degrees is y over 8, opposite over hypotenuse, and you would cross multiply. 8 sine 65 is y, and you'll get 7.25. Now, check for the reasonableness of your answer. Remember that the hypotenuse is always the largest of the three sides. It has to be bigger than these two legs. Is it bigger than these two? It is. Okay, it is bigger. Questions? Okay, now, how do you do finding an angle if you know all three sides? Well, this triangle, they want you to find this angle right here. So you have options. You can use sine, cosine, or tangent. Which trig ratio do you like? Sine. Okay. So if you chose sine, the sine of this missing angle is equal to, what's the relationship between the sides? It's opposite over the hypotenuse, so 3 to 5. Oops, 3 to 5. For those of you that chose cosine, your ratio would be 4 over 5. And for those of you that like the tangent, yours would have been 3 over 4. So any one of these three will work. How do you find the angle whose side opposite over hypotenuse is a 3 to 5 ratio? What angle is this? What angle is this whose side adjacent to hypotenuse is a 4 to 5 ratio? And what angle is whose side opposite over adjacent is 3 to 4? You're going to use, and I have it right here, you're going to hit second sine, get that -1 there, and then type in 3 to 5, 3 over 5. Or cosine, so second cosine, 4 over 5. Or second tangent, 3 over 4. If you have the Inspire calculator, you don't have to hit second, you just hit the trig button, and then hit the, whichever one you're doing, sine, cosine, or tangent. But you want to get that sine, that inverse here. And can you tell me what angle you got? Make sure your calculator's in degree mode. Any one of them should have resulted in 37.87 degrees. Any one of them.
How do you put this in?
Hit trig, hit the trig button. Then look for the word, look for this.
No, how do we put in degrees?
Oh, in degrees, we did that yesterday. Settings, go to settings. And then go to 2, and then hit, make sure it's in degree, and then hit set as default. It should be in. We did it yesterday. Hopefully no one switched it back.
I got a different answer.
You have a different answer?
Yeah, I got 36.87.
Because your calculator's not in degree mode. Did you hit, here, let me have your calculator.
That's what it has down here, 36.8.
Mine's in degree mode.
And it's down here, 36.87.
Yeah, that's what I got.
You got the 37.87.
Oh.
Like that.
3 to 5. Okay, so calculate. I wrote it wrong. I don't know why I wrote 37. It's 36.87. You're right. You're right. My bad, guys. I don't know why I wrote 37. It's 30. It's 36. 36.87. I had a 7 here. I don't know why I wrote a 7. Okay, next. Haley? Okay, next one, example 3. You're asked to solve a right triangle. When it asks you to solve a right triangle, that means it's the right triangle. I want all the sides and all the angles of the triangle. So let's start with where? Where do you want to start? How about the angle? Want to find this angle first?
Yeah.
How would you find that angle?
Add the
You're going to do 90 minus what? That's 75. What's your answer? 15 degrees. So you got a point. So this is 15 degrees. Next, let's find side A. How do you find side A? Here it is. So solve for this. What trig ratio are you going to use? I like sine too. Sine of 75 is equal to the side opposite over the hypotenuse. So just like we did on the previous problem, you're going to type 17, you're going to cross multiply 17 sine 75, and that would be side A. And I got 16.42. Check it out. So, here's this calculator, 17 sine 75. and I got 16.4. Now, how would you find side B?
Cosine.
I would do cosine. Cosine of 75 equals adjacent over hypotenuse. And when you cross multiply, you get 4.40. Questions? This is all basic stuff. Next one. This one, they give you two sides, and you know it's a right triangle. We need to find these two angles, and we need to find this missing side. How would you find this missing side? Yeah, Pythagorean theorem. A squared plus b squared, which is 6, equals c squared. Do the math. A squared is 108. Take the square root. Whenever possible, give me an exact answer. An exact answer is 6 root 3. Now, once we figured out that this is 6 root 3, does anyone recognize,
Yeah.
what do you recognize?
30, 60.
Yeah, it's a 30, 60, 90. Your hypotenuse is double the shorter leg, so this is a 30, this is a 60, and that's a 90, of course. Now let's say you didn't see that and you have a calculator handy. What would you type instead to figure that out? Well, I would use, let's do, if you want to find this angle first, I would use sine. So sine of this angle is equal to 6 over 12. And then hit second, so you'd hit second sine, 6/12, and you'll get that that's 30. Easy? And then how do you find the other angle? Subtract it from 90, so that's what you can do. Next example. The directions are missing. Find side C. So, they give you a ratio. Sine of C is 3/4. So given this triangle here, and you should know that the side opposite of an angle is the smaller. So angle C, that's side C. Angle B, that's side B. Angle A, that's side A. So when you see 3 to 4 and you see the word sine, direct yourself at this would be the side opposite. So find C. Here's C. The side opposite would be a 3, and the side hypotenuse would be a 4. Because of the word sine. If it said cosine, I would have put a 4 here, a 3 here, and a 4 here. If it would have said tangent here, I would have put a 3 here and a 4 here. So based on this word, and knowing the definition of sine, opposite over hypotenuse, and it's talking in reference to angle C, I have these two sides met in proportion here, 3 to 4. 3, 4. We don't know what that is. Now, they give you another measurement, B. But B is 4 here. I already said it's 4. How can it be 12? Well, they're talking about given another triangle. So if you had another triangle that was in proportion to this one, and we're going to call side B now is 12 for this new triangle, how do you find, we need to find this side right here. So does anyone remember anything from geometry or even algebra that you could do to find if these two triangles are in proportion, how could I find this side? How about writing a proportion? 4 is to 3, as 12 is to C. Now, is that the only thing you could have written? No. You could have written 4 is to 12 as 3 is to C. And then just cross multiply. 4C is 36. What's C? 9. Next page. These three triangles need, the sides, or the missing side I should say, needs to be solved without a calculator. So let's take a look at this triangle right here. It's a 45, 45, 90, right? You have a 90, that's a 45, this is a 45. What, if I asked you to find all three sides, would you be able to do it? What's this side right here? This is 12, and what's this side? Easy. Now, what if I would have given you a 45, 45, 90, and I would have given you the hypotenuse? How do you find the shorter leg? You divide. So to find the shorter leg, you divide by the square root of 2. To find the hypotenuse, you multiply by square root of 2. Got it? Okay, next one. What kind of triangle is this? This is a 30, this is 60, and this is 90. What do you remember about the 30, 60, 90? The shorter side is half of the hypotenuse. So what would the hypotenuse be? Good, 300. What's the relationship between the 30 side and the 60 side? This is going to be, the longer side is the shorter side times the square root of 3. Good. Got it? So if I gave you a 30, 60, 90 triangle and I gave you the hypotenuse, what I would do is cut that in half, that's your shorter side, and then multiply that by square root of 3. So these are the things you got to think about. And then the last one right here. This is a 30, sorry this didn't show up very well. This is a 30, 60, 90. Looks like they gave us the hypotenuse. So this is what I was just talking about. What would you do? What did you say, Robbie? 50 is that side, and you did that by taking half of that. And then what's this side? 50 square root of 3. Easy? Whoops, sorry. Wait. Yeah, this is 50, yep. Sorry. Your side op, this is 50. That's the 30, and this is 50 root 3. Thank you for pointing that out. Okay? Next. Okay, you're going to draw a triangle. Here you go. Let's draw a triangle for these. Now, they don't give you the I don't know if the triangle's in the book, but we're just going to draw this triangle ABC. You have to know how to label these sides. So side C, which is going to be this side right here, is 5. And angle A is 60 degrees. What do they want? They want you to find side A right here. So how would you do this? This is this is going to be your 30. What's the relationship? What is it? 5 root 3. What if I would have asked you to find side B? What would you have done?
Multiply 5 by 2.
And you get 10. So if they ask you what this side is, you double the shorter side. Okay? So, the rest is your homework. These problems, I want you to finish for homework. These are just like what we did above. And the back side is homework. The rest of this is homework. This is all you're doing is solving triangles. Okay? Let's do 18, let's finish this page right here. Might as well. Solve the triangle with the given conditions. So draw a triangle. Okay, so angle C, they're saying, and these are this is the information, is 37 degrees. And side C is 12. They're asking you to solve the entire triangle. So let's call this B, and we can call this A. You can name your triangle however you want. How would you find this angle right here? You're going to do 90 minus 37, which is what? 53 degrees. So angle B is 53. Okay, next, what are you gonna do? Huh? How do we know it was 53?
How'd you know you were solving for angle B?
It says solve the triangle. It means find all the angles and all the sides. Solving a triangle means finding all of the angles and all of the sides. I have to do everything. Everything. And these are right triangles, so one angle is 90 degrees. Okay? Robbie, you good? Okay, then, how would you find one of the other sides? What would you do? Trig. Which trig ratio you want to do? Let's do sine. Sine of 37 degrees is equal to the side opposite over, this would be side A. How do you solve this one now? Well, if you cross multiply, you have this times this. So sine of 37 is 0.6018A equals 12. So, and then you could just do, if you want to keep that in your calculator, you can do 12 divided by, and then your answer, second answer. And there's your answer right there. It's exact. Well, not exact, but as close as it can be, yes.
We made angle A 90 degrees, and it says angle A is 40 degrees.
You're in the next problem.
Oh, okay, never mind. I thought this was all for one.
No, this is number 18. This is number 18, like that.
Oh.
See it? You're looking at number 20.
I thought it was all for one.
You're looking at 20. So side A is about 19.94. Now how would you find side B? You could use the Pythagorean theorem if you wanted. I would use another trig ratio. Now that you know this, you can use it. This is 19.9. Now to find this side, you'd use cosine. So I would write cosine of 37 is equal to the side adjacent over the hypotenuse, 19.94. So cross multiply, so cosine 37 and then times 19.94. And I get about 15.9. And now, make sure that your triangle makes sense. Your two legs need to be smaller than your hypotenuse. Is it right? Are we good?
Yeah.
Yes? You got it, Kelsey? Okay. So, how about let's do 20 together. 20. So draw your triangle. ABC. I'm just drawing a triangle. Side A is 8, and angle A is 40. So what do you know right now? What's angle C? How did you get that?
90 minus 40.
Yep, 50 degrees. We're solving the triangle. Now, we need to find side C, and we need to find side B. How do we do that? Let's go for C first. I would use this angle right here in case you made a math error. So I would have cosine of 40 degrees is equal to, actually no, we can't do that. We can't use cosine. What do we need to use?
Tangent.
Tangent. We need to use tangent. Why tangent?
Opposite adjacent.
Because it's opposite. We have an 8 here. So we're going to use tangent of 40 is side opposite over adjacent. and that's an 8. So when you cross multiply, basically what you're doing is you're doing 8. C is gonna be 8 over the tangent of 40. 8 divided by the tangent of 40. And I got 9.53. Anybody get something else? And now you can use that to find side B. Or you could use 8 and B, that would be your sine. So you could do sine of 40 is 8 over B. How does that sound? Sine of 40 is 8 over B. Opposite over hypotenuse. And so basically it's B is equal to 8 divided by the sine of 40. So B is 12.45. Now make sure it makes sense. B is our hypotenuse. Is it larger than these two sides? Yes, it worked out fine. Next one, 26 and 28. How do you find this angle right here, given these two sides? The angle?
Oh, no.
You're not gonna use the, if you were asked to find this side, yes, use the Pythagorean theorem, but how do you find the angle whose ratio of this to this is 10 to 12? What are you gonna hit? Cosine of that angle you wanna know, it's in a proportion of 10 to 12. So what would you hit on your calculator? What'd you get for an answer? 10? I got 33.56. Did somebody get something else? What'd you get?
I just rounded it to.
Okay, rounding. And then this last one, number 28. What trig ratio am I going to use knowing this and this side? Sine of some angle is equal to 144, opposite over hypotenuse, I think that's a 200. So on your calculator, this is what you have. And I got 46, about 46 degrees. 46.1. Questions, anybody? Okay, so, this is all practice. There's some cotangent problems in here. Remember, cotangent is adjacent over opposite. Make sure you guys do these for homework. This is due. This is what you should be doing. Finish this packet. You should do this tomorrow while the juniors are testing their the practice ACT test. So bring this to the class that you were assigned to. And if you are testing tomorrow, then you've got the weekend to do this.